Okay, so we're here with Claire from SOTA Summit, who's going to tell us a little bit about Vasque or Vasque. Which one is it?
Vasque. So Vasque Footwear originated in the US and they've been manufacturing footwear now for over 40 years. So they've been in the market a long time. US has actually touted it as #1 footwear brand in the outdoor industry in the US. So it's definitely a big brand. If you have a look at the wall behind, we've got a bit of a European influence in terms of the design of the footwear. They do all their R&D, research and development in the US. So it's definitely got a lot of ground in the US.
What kind of, where does it sit in the marketplace? What kind of users will Vasque suit?
If you have a look at the wall, obviously it's got a very large range. This is actually a selection of the large range, so they still do more than the models that you see on the wall. They do 5 categories in their shoes, or shoes and footwear I should say. So they do their trail runners, they do what's called crossover. So it's a bit of a combination of a lightweight shoe that they can use for maybe a bit of running, but day hiking is also the other use for those. Then you've got what they call their hiking range, which is their sort of medium, sort of day walking, a little bit of support for extra walking. Then they have their backpacking range, which is their more heavy hiking, more serious boots. So the ones on the right hand side are definitely more heavy hiking.
Okay, so we're talking high country, snowies?
Oh, definitely. You could use them alpine use. You could use them for just long haul walks, especially in Australia. So you're doing something like the Bibbulmun Track in Western Australia, you'd definitely be wanting to look at a backpacking boot rather than their hiking range, just for the stability and the extra support. They also have their own technologies as well. So there's one in particular called Vasque Spine technology. This uses a gel compression in the heel, so that when basically for shock impact. Certainly got a lot to offer. This one here, this has actually got their Vasque Spine technology. So the idea is that this is a trail runner. You're going to have a reasonable amount of heel impact when you're using these to run with, especially long distance running. So the idea is that you can't maybe quite see that, but you've got gel in the heel there.
Right.
So the idea is that when you hit the back of your heel, is that it's obviously going to disperse that impact, so the shock impact. So it's just going to help to make it more comfortable, and at the end of the day you'll be hopefully less fatigued in the foot.
Okay, so this is trail running, adventure racing, that kind of thing?
Absolutely. This is exactly where this one's hitting the market. There's also a couple of other models that are available that also have the Vasque Spine technology. So the idea with this one too is that this would be, I say, a long day hiker, and so has the VST technology in it as well. So you've got something like your Zephyr 2, which has got a really, really stiff sole bed on it, rand on the toe, and reinforcement in the heel. But what that offers is a lot of stability, which is really good for long days of walking, but not only long days of walking, but when you add weight to that. So if you've got a rucksack on your back and you're carrying that with, say, 15 to 20 kilos, right, you need something that has a really solid, stable sole, and is also going to take that impact of that constant.
So fairly robust kind of shoe.
Definitely. And that one also has a Gore-Tex lining, which of course, in bad weather is always really good to protect your feet from getting wet.
Okay. And then the heavy hitter?
Well, I guess a lot of people that do a lot of hiking will tend to stick to a traditional leather. You'll notice that there's a bit of flex and bit of give in that one. When you're looking at something like a full leather, you've got a lot more support in the upper, but you've also got that real stability and support in the sole, as we saw with this one. So really strong, stable. Yep. So
what's the difference between the hiking between these two? Can you give me an example of where you'd take this one as opposed to this one?
Well, it's actually more of a choice really in terms of how someone likes a fit, because really, essentially you could take both of these boots to the same place. Right. So but the idea behind this is that if you want something that's going to last you perhaps a lot longer, it's going to be reliable, then a full grain leather is definitely the way to go. But the other side of that is that if you're not used to wearing a fully stiff boot and you want something that's a little bit softer, and then you would go for something like this in terms of maybe a little bit more comfort. Not quite as stable and secure as that one, but they're still going to both be suitable for the same use.
And the breathability of leather, what's the difference between the breathability and I suppose leather's quite thick? And
it is, so obviously the heavier something a product is in terms of its materials that's used, it's only going to take a little bit longer to get the moisture out. The key there is the socks that you use. So definitely the misconception is that if I've got something that's a lot lighter, it's going to breathe a lot better. If you put a cotton sock in those, or something that's substandard in terms of socks, you're probably going to get a hot foot. But in terms of going for something that's got a good combination of, say, merino, Coolmax is another product that you'll hear a lot of in terms of fibres that are used in socks.
Yep.
Socks are really important, just as important as boots. Yeah.
Okay.
We will be seeing the product in stores hopefully in November with the retailers. So the secret will be out in November as to who will be stocking. SOTA.com.au. You can also have a look at the range of Vasque at vasque.com as well. So, yeah.
Brilliant. Well, Claire, thank you very much.
Okay.
And the jazz has started, so it's, I think it's time to go and have a beer.
Okay, that sounds good.